Welcome to the Raid Digest, everybody. Happy Friday. Hope you guys are having an amazing start of the weekend. Plarium just released some news about upcoming changes to Raid Shadow Legends in the next patch, which, by the way, is going to happen next week. So, they've already confirmed it multiple times that some of these things do not work as intended. And I do want to give you guys a fair warning. Do not invest in these teams anymore unless you have tons of resources and you're rushing for whatever reason to quickly defeat that content before the upcoming changes that will happen next week. Let me start with Ammius, the boss from the Cursed City. So, at the moment, you can solo him, right? Every revive on that champion in the game can do it. Literally, every revive on that champion can solo that boss. So, because of it, they will fix everything that is going wrong with it. And I know some of you guys maybe decided to invest in a Torture Helm, decided to invest in a different champion that can get the job done, but you don't really have much use for that champion later on. So that's why I'm giving you guys this fair warning. The next thing that they are planning to change as well, of course, is going to be the interaction with Yannica and Trollguard, the Void Legendary. I think that's his name, if I'm not mistaken. And the Hydra Clan Boss. So at the moment, this team can deal insane damage in the Hydra Clan Boss, and it's all because of a bug of how the Void Legendary spreads the shield. Which, by the way, it should not work like that because it's clearly not in his description, you know, so it's a pretty odd thing. But my main thing is the following, my main counter argument. Tranda works with a bug. Madman was working exactly like Tranda, and they changed it because that was a bug. But still, Tranda doesn't have that bug, okay? Which she does. Why not let people have a second option as a strong team to compete in the Hydra, right? You wanna have multiple options, not one champion that dominates all of them and literally steps on their heads, because that's what Tranda does to any other champion in the game. Why not leave Yannica and the Void Legendary to interact in this way and just make it in the description to be described as it works? Because, hey, there you go. You have a second option for a good team to deal crazy damage in the Hydra, not just Tranda anymore. Of course, even like this team will never be able to get close to Tranda. Okay, not even close to it. Probably it will get to deal, I would say, 10 to 20% maximum of the damage that Tranda can deal in the Hydra Clan Boss. But still, it's something that people would like to probably use. So, while I know that was not intended from the beginning, while I know that is a bug, I think they should fix it to don't be a bug. You know, that's kind of like what I would like to say, unless they're planning to fix Tranda too, you know. But leaving that on the side, let me just quickly head over to the Raid Digest, guys, to see what exactly is coming to the game in the next patch. So, hey Raiders, the voting for Wixwell skills is over, so we are one step closer to the community fusion of this champion that starts on the 9th of May, which, by the way, will be the day for the patch, or we're gonna get a patch one day earlier. Then, there are some upcoming changes with the patch. A glimpse of the update. So, the update will introduce some QOL improvements, including some of the tavern, although you'll get more info about them next week. But also, some tweaks to the battle mechanics. So, if you guys did not have a chance to watch the video that I released yesterday, we received a new QOL roadmap for all of the upcoming changes coming to Raid Shadow Legends in 2024. This is not a content roadmap, it's a QOL changes. So, the very first thing that's on the list for the very first patch is the tavern improvements, okay? This is coming next week, guys. And if you are not familiar with what changes, some amazing changes that, honestly, I'm surprised they haven't been added to the game 4 or 5 years ago when all the rest of the games were adding them, you know? But you have a champion filter, so the regular filter that you have in the game will allow you now to select champions that are in the vault directly from the tavern. Massive thing, because you constantly have to move champions in and out, and it's very painful, very time consuming. Champion Ascension slider, so now you can select how many stars you want to ascend on a champion. Now you can select how many skill tomes you want to put in a champion, which is very helpful rather than constantly clicking on the 6. Then you have instant upgrade. Now I'm not sure, I've heard some rumors saying that this is only meant to work for commons and uncommons as a quick leveling up on some of the champions, which makes no sense to me. Why only for that? Why not for rare champions, you know? I'm still not seeing it anywhere right here where it's basically describing that they're only commons and uncommons, but I've heard some people saying it that that's the way how it's going to work, which, by the way, I hope not, because some people open quite a few shards. The space is pretty tight, especially now that we gotta save all the epics for the empowerment. So yeah, hopefully it will include rares in here as well. Then we have the instant rank up, and they will have filters. You're gonna be able to select exactly what champions you are ranking up, what chickens, what fodders, rather than basically burning everything that you have from mistake, you know, sacrifice champions with gear, with skills, stacks, ascended champions, etc. You know, so this is an amazing feature coming to Raid, guys. I cannot wait to have this in the tavern. But let's actually head over to some of the battle mechanics changes. So we're gonna have all bosses will be immune to the enfeeble debuff. Right now we have a mythical champion in the game that can basically put enfeeble on all of the bosses and completely cancel them, you know, like all of the Hydra heads will not be able to crit you or to strong hit you. They will not be able to debuff you or anything like that. And that is a massive change, because having something like that is actually pretty nasty. But let me just quickly show you what I'm talking about. If I'm not mistaken, Androck is the champion with enfeeble. It might be on his second form, but he can basically put enfeeble on all the enemies, and he can do it on all of the bosses, which is pretty damn nasty, you know. So they decided to make all of the bosses immune to the enfeeble debuff. Then the skill AI of Amyas, the Lunar Archon, the ultimate boss in the Cursed series, currently has a bug. The boss often forgets to use his A2 or A3, even though he's ready and able to do so. After the update, Amyas will stop exercising random acts of mercy and will put up a more challenging fight. So please be prepared to face the boss as he was supposed to be. Now hear me out. This boss is all an RNG fest, more or less. I do find it pretty hard to control him every now and then, depending on what buffs you have on, what debuffs you have on, and stuff like that. So it's very important to have the right things on this boss. You know, if no, he will mess you up. And the thing is, sometimes he's using the A3 on the second form, sometimes he's going for the A2, sometimes he has them both available. Even though I have buffs, he's going in for the A1. Basically, this boss does whatever he wants, not whatever he's supposed to do. So hopefully, if they are planning to fix all this revive on that situation, they will keep in mind that they need to fix the rest of the issues too, because if no, it's pretty busted to have him do random stuff. So at the moment, Cardiel can solo this boss. Mother Sibel can solo this boss. She can solo this boss. Mother Sibel, I named her again. Godseeker and Iri can solo this boss. I'm not sure if she has a revive on that. Okay, when an enemy dies. So no, she doesn't really count. But you have other champions that can basically revive because of the passives. We don't really have them right there because it's not an actual buff. So I've done it with Daywalker, guys, the rare champion, and he soloed Amyas. True, it took me like 17 or 18 minutes of just tapping the A1, but this champion soloed Amyas, right? Why not? So they will fix that. Do not invest in these champions unless you are planning to use them somewhere else, because next week this will be fixed, okay? Keep that in mind. Then, moving over to the following thing. Togron. I got his name wrong. I was sure that I got his name wrong. Togron the Conjoined will stop spreading the shield buff provided by artifact sets. So, this Void Legendary, guys, together with Yannica, they were able to basically put in some serious work in the Hydra clan boss. So, let me just quickly find them. So, we have Yannica and we have Togron, right? Which probably is sitting somewhere in the vault. There we go. So these champions together can do insane damage in the Hydra. So we have Togron right here. With the A1, guys, he has a chance to apply a buff spread effect on all of your allies, taking a random buff. So as long as you're not keeping too many crazy buffs on him and you ensure that he's going first, you're using a counterattack and stuff like this, or ally attack, sorry, not counterattack. Basically, he's going to be able to spread the shield from a blood shield accessory on all of your allies. Now, for whatever reason, there was a massive bug where when he's spreading that shield, it gains an insane value, okay? An insane value, which is not something that's normally intended to do. You know, it gets like a crazy value. So then you have, of course, Yannicka coming in with her A3. Attacks all enemies, will ignore shield buffs. Removes shield buffs from the target if this champion is under a veil or perfect veil buff, and deals extra damage equal to 15% of the value of the removed shield buffs. The bigger the shield on the enemy, the more damage she's going to deal, okay? So that's the whole trick with them. Now, one thing that I would say is, why are they completely changing the way Togrul works? Because the whole idea is that right now he just increases that value of the shield like it's crazy, you know? So why make him to don't be able to spread the buff from artifacts? You know why? Because they don't want us to make a team with the new fusion champion that will increase the value of the shield. They don't want us to make a team with Brogni or somebody else that can increase the value of shield and then have Yannicka to be competitive in the Hydra clash and deal billions of damage. So that's why this change is coming as the following, you know. So how I mentioned, I don't see why you're stopping Yannicka from doing some decent damage while Tranda completely breaks the game. Okay, let's be honest. When we are talking about Hydra, everywhere else, Tranda, she's just not as she was before. She's not the queen of damage anymore. She is good in some other areas, but she's not really shining anywhere else except Hydra, you know? So in a way, I'm not saying completely kill her off or anything like that. She should still be able to do 2, 3, 4 billion damage and be the meta. But while she is completely eclipsing any other team in the game is a bit crazy, right? So yeah, that's pretty much everything that is in terms of changes. The next CVC tournament will not feature personal rewards. So as simple as that, everybody can have a chill pill and don't bother about this. Now I am looking forward to the rest of the changes. In particular, the artifact presets, epic champion empowerment. Keep an eye, I will have a different video dropping on today, talking about epic champions that you should keep in your roster and get ready for the empowerment. But that was all for the video. Much love as usual. Appreciate every single one of you guys watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.